Some years ago, Barbara and Batya took a little retreat to the coast. It wasn't far, one of those small, slightly windswept English beaches with a line of grey cottages, a coffee van that closes early, and the kind of silence you only get when the sea and sky have agreed to stop bickering. The kind of place where time slows, where the rhythm of waves replaces the ticking of clocks. Batya had lost her mother not long before. Grief had become her companion, sometimes heavy, sometimes light, but always present, like the salt in the air that special morning. And Barbara, with the quiet wisdom of a friend who doesn't need to fix anything, just walked beside her, matching her footsteps to Batya's uncertain pace, offering nothing but presence. They didn't talk much as they wandered the shoreline, their silence comfortable, like an old prayer shawl wrapped around their shoulders. Every now and then, Batya would stop to pick up a smooth pebble. She'd turn it over her palm, feeling its contours, tracing its ridges with her fingertips as if reading a message. Then, with deliberate care, she'd slipped it into her pocket. After the fourth or the fifth such discovery, Barbara finally smiled and asked, "Is this a collection you're starting?" Batya nodded, her eyes fixed on the horizon where the waters met sky. "I'm collecting memories," she said softly. And then, almost offhand, in that way profound truth often arrive, she added, "I'll know which ones to keep later." I have been thinking of them, both. Barbara's watchful kindness and Batya's gentle gathering while preparing for Pesach and this service in the past weeks. Their shoreline walk has become for me a perfect metaphor for where we stand today in our festival journey. Because today is a shoreline moment. The week of Pesach has taken us across many waters, through longing and liberation, through bitter herbs and full glasses, through ancient stories and modern questions that challenge us still. And now we've come to this quiet edge, this thoughtful pause between what was and what will be. The sea of our Exodus story is closing behind us. The wilderness journey ahead us has not quite begun. And in this soft, holy pause between memory and becoming, we collect what we need. The Torah doesn't whisper to us today, it sings. Shirat HaYam, the song of the sea, words that have echoed across 3,000 years of Jewish memory. Then Moses sang, then Miriam picked up her timbrel. It's not a carefully composed ballad or a measured hymn. It's something else entirely. It's bursting forth spontaneous, and it is raw. The words tumble out like the waters themselves, powerful and uncertain. Our ancestors sing not because they planned a celebration, but because they are still shaking with awe and terror. They sing because they don't know what comes next, because the only proof that tomorrow will arrive is that stunning fact that they have made it through today. So they sing, not to celebrate their strength or wisdom, but to make sense of their survival, to give voice to the miracles still pulsing through their bodies, to transform fear into gratitude, confusion into praise. And if there is a more honest response to deliverance, I've never encountered it. This is what it means to stand at the edge of transformation, breathless, uncertain, and filled with wonder all at once. Their song carries no pretense. It holds both their vulnerability and their triumph. It acknowledges that liberation isn't a single moment, but a process that continues with each step forward into unknown territory. The waters have parted, yes, but the journey has only just begun. King David understood this too. That's why our Haftarah brings us his own seashore moment, not at the Red Sea, but later in his life, after battles fought and lost, after betrayals weathered, after years of running and hiding, after mistakes made and lessons learned at great cost. It is striking that when David finally pauses to reflect on all that God has carried him through, he doesn't offer a history lesson or a royal proclamation like those who stood at the shores of the Red Sea generations before him. He sings. The waves of depth wrapped around me, the torrents of destruction overwhelmed me. In my distress, I called to the Eternal, and from the heavens my voice was heard. It's not a scroll of facts or accomplishments. It is a heart wide open, vulnerable, and honest about both darkness and light. He calls God not just judge or king, but rock, fortress, deliverer, shelter. Because in the hardest moments of our lives, what we need is not a theological answer, but refuge, not explanation, but presence. And from that place of shelter, having been carried through the storm, he remembers. He gathers his own pebbles from the shore, collecting what he needs to carry forward. So do we. The Yizkor service later in the service invites us to stand gently in the same liminal space, this shoreline between memory and continuation, between what we have lost and what we still carry. We remember those who loved us into being, those who shaped us with kindness, with song, with sharp wit, or a silent strength. Those whose voice we still hear sometimes in the quiet moments. Like Batya on the shore, we reach down into memory, into the swirl of years, and we collect what we need. A story, a lesson, a smile, the echo of a voice saying our name in a particular way that only they could say it, the weight of a hand on our shoulder. And perhaps we don't know yet which memories will sustain us most in the years ahead. Perhaps we are still sorting them, turning them over in our hands, feeling their texture. That's all right. That's exactly as it should be. Yizkor is not a final act. It's an opening, a sacred invitation to let grief and gratitude walk together like two friends on a windswept beach. We grieve and we bless all at once, because that's how the soul sings its most authentic song. And so, on the seventh day of Pesach, we do what Jews have always done at moments of transformation. We sing. We sing like Miriam with her timbrel dancing at the shore's edge, like David after deliverance, like all our people throughout time who have always known that standing on the threshold of the unknown is the most sacred place to lift up our voices. We sing. We sing songs of memory and songs of becoming, songs of grief and songs of celebration, ancient melodies and newly composed harmonies. And we walk together, carrying what we need, blessing what we remember, trusting what we cannot yet see, supporting each other across every kind of wilderness. For this ultimately is what it means to be a community of faith. Not that we have all the answers, but that we journey together, collecting pebbles along the way, reaching for each other's hand when the path goes steep or uncertain. Shabbat Shalom.